Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. All right, today we are turning Web3 theory into action. We're going to build an indestructible digital vault for your NFTs. We're taking those high-level concepts about decentralized storage and turning them into concrete, executable scripts. So, let's jump right into this explainer on implementation and retrieval workflows. Bridging from our previous lesson on AI-assisted accelerators, we've got to ask a pretty hard practical question. Where does your NFT actually live? Like what happens when you click on a prized digital asset and you get a super frustrating 404 error? Your NFT smart contract might live safely on the blockchain, sure. But if the metadata points to a dead link or some centralized server that just went offline, well, your asset is effectively gone. Poof.
Section 1. The metadata problem. We really need to transition from those theoretical discussions about IPFS and Filecoin directly into actionable execution. This is how we guarantee your assets are always exactly where they belong.
Now, our core strategy here relies on content addressing. Basically, by treating a file as an assemblage of immutable blocks, rather than just some big, opaque monolith, we can enable streaming and parallel fetches. And that drastically reduces the cost and latency of large file retrieval. So, the absolutely crucial point here is that we're actually going to write an executable Python script, one that packages your metadata, leverages this exact architecture, and rigorously validates your retrieval workflows. Moving on to Section 2, fingerprints and addresses. To construct our digital vault, we first have to clearly understand these two primary tools because without them, we literally have zero security. Just look at the distinction between these two cryptographic powerhouses. The SHA-256 checksum, that's the digital fingerprint proving what the file is. It gives you a really quick, implementation-agnostic integrity check for the bytes you control. Meanwhile, the IPFS CID, or content identifier, acts kind of like a GPS coordinate. It proves where and how to find that file on the content-addressed web. You absolutely need to record both of these in your metadata. That way you can verify data integrity completely independent of the storage network itself. Okay, Section 3, the packaging script. Let's head over to our digital assembly line and look at the actual package_validate.py script that we're going to use to make all this happen. Instead of getting totally lost in lines of code, just think of this Python script as a 3-act mission to secure your metadata, JSON, and local assets. First up, we package, meaning we scan our local assets folder to package the files. Second, we compute their unique checksums and CIDs. And third, we validate. We run a check to make absolutely sure they are retrievable. Behind the scenes, our script basically acts as an automated factory for your assets. It takes specific inputs and generates really precise outputs. So for every asset file you feed into it, it generates a SHA-256 checksum and an asset CID. Then it takes those, builds a descriptive metadata JSON, and spits out a metadata CID. Finally, using a retrieval endpoint, it tests the whole shebang, giving us real latency metrics and a complete validation log. Now, here is the secret weapon powering our script, the IPFS add-only hash command. Honestly, as you dive into other courses here at Forge College, you are going to absolutely love this magic command. What it does is compute the CID deterministically, but without actually publishing your content to the IPFS network. It's exactly like weighing a package to get a shipping label, but without actually handing it over to the post office yet. It lets you completely separate computation from publishing, which is just incredibly useful when you're iterating on your designs. Section 4. Validating the retrieval. So, we've built the asset, we've stamped its fingerprint, and put it in a box. But we can't just assume it works, right? Now we need to ensure we can actually retrieve it from the network. To do that, in our script, we ping our local IPFS gateway to test the retrieval. You can kind of think of this gateway as a mildly judgmental bouncer, checking our digital fingerprints against the guest list. It takes that CID we ask for and tries to route us to the actual bytes. And there it is, the magic number. We want to see a 200 HTTP status code. You know, the universal web signal for OK. Seeing that confirms the gateway successfully found our metadata and served it right back to us. But hey, we don't just stop at a successful connection. Our script actually goes a step further. It executes the fetch via HTTP GET, and then it precisely measures the elapsed latency time. After that, it computes a brand new SHA-256 hash of the response body. Finally, it compares that new hash against our original expected fingerprint. If they match perfectly, boom, we have mathematically proven absolute data integrity, meaning no bytes were lost or tampered with in transit. Bringing us to Section 5, the final checkpoint. Once the script finishes its run, we have to actually verify our output and interpret those performance logs.
You're really looking for 4 specific things here to confirm your implementation worked perfectly. First, check for JSON-formatted metadata files in your output folder. Second, look for a summary retrieval log that neatly maps all your files to their CIDs. Third, ensure the script reported matching SHA-256 digests upon fetching. And fourth, just make sure realistic latency metrics were actually recorded. If you've got these key artifacts and your metrics check out, congratulations for sure. Your digital vault is fully operational and your assets are locked down and safe.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. You've moved from theory to practice, and now you have hard data. So how will these raw, new baseline latency metrics shape your production SLAs and redundancy plans in our next phase of architecture? Really think about how these numbers are going to determine your system's future performance. Make sure to visit forge.college to continue your Web3 building journey and dive deeper into these metrics. Until next time, keep building.